Sleepless in Seattle, where residents have decided to take things into their own hands, 'cause they have to. A Gold Star wife asked for photos of her husband's Arlington Cemetery grave on Memorial Day, and then the magic happened. This is goosebump story, folks. It's amazing. And finally, the end of the internet's golden age. Oh, yeah. Welcome to the Jay Sheldon Show. That would be this guy. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it. Marilyn, good morning. Praise the Lord. Be blessed. Indeed we are. And back at you. Thanks for popping by. We got a lot going on. We got a lot of stories this morning. And it is a Tuesday. Kind of that hump day, sort of. Not really, kind of. We got a bunch of things happening, so we're going to jump right into it. It's called Sleepless in Seattle because residents there have been forced to take crime fighting into their own hands. Why? Because the cops are doing nothing. Nothing. Democrats will tell you that crime is getting better in all the blue cities. They're basically lying to you. Does anybody actually believe that? Just ask residents from L.A., where good old Mayor Bass has been touting stats that show crime rates have lowered when, in reality, there's been a home invasion wave. Street takeovers, about as regular as sunshine in the Golden State. Or maybe ask the beleaguered residents of Seattle. Some residents have been forced to put up barricades to keep the perps out. This is insane. They argue that they're getting absolutely no help whatsoever from the police in this rainy leftist enclave where a Democrat socialist with virtually no resume at all, Katie Wilson, was elected mayor back in November of last year and has managed to continue to destroy Seattle. Good morning, Danny. Beautiful, sunny 71 in Illinois. Gives you great vibes for early school mornings. All right. 71 is sweet. Anyway, the folks have taken matters into their own hands, and they're not particularly happy about it.
Been a shooting almost every night in the last couple of weeks.
It's terrifying to live here, and it's even more terrifying that the city is absolutely doing nothing to protect the citizens in this neighborhood.
Which is why they're taking matters into their own hands. They put up these makeshift barriers.
It was a game changer. It made it feel much more safe there.
Unbelievable. Look at that. They actually constructed these barriers to keep the riffraff out. What a great idea. The residents tell reporters the constant fear they live in these conditions in Seattle. I'm glad they're feeling safer, but this is beyond ridiculous that they felt forced into this position to have to put up these barriers in the first place. Don't we have cops for that? What led to their feeling such a bold move was the only way forward? Bullets flying seemingly every single night? Yeah, kind of like a border. Frustrated by recurring gunfire tied to Aura Avenue's long-running, increasingly deadly crime problems, some North Seattle residents have begun barricading neighborhood streets themselves. They call it a safety measure, raising a lot of concerns that makeshift barricades could get in the way of ambulances, fire trucks, crews that are responding to emergencies. Yes, that is absolutely a problem. But supporters say it's a safety measure. That's it. It's raising concerns. And in recent days, the neighbors near North 97th, 98th, and 102nd Streets hauled in these huge metal planter boxes like you just saw, full of dirt and gravel to partially block residential roads that feed into Aurora Avenue North, one of Seattle's absolute busiest corridors. The barriers have their critics. Some wokester in the required Seattle ponytail trying to tell one of the builders, I just don't know that I feel like this is the right fix. What's your solution, pal? Contrast that with the footage of the shootings in this same video, which is from King 5 Seattle Reports. Unbelievable. Hang on a quick second. Okay, watch this.
We just saw a Honda Element drive around here, so we got to put a stump over there, I think.
You can't just illegally block the road because...
Another conflict divides North Seattle's Greenwood neighborhood.
It's either this or bullets in my neighbors' houses.
Not gunfire, but how far residents are going to stop it.
Our neighbors put these up in self-defense.
The risk of emergency services not being able to get through here is greater than the good that they think that they're doing from putting up this.
Makeshift barricades now block 3 streets off Aurora Avenue, and they're building frustration.
And I just don't think that this is the right fix.
It comes after residents like Kate and Peter say they've documented at least 8 shootings in about the past month within roughly 10 blocks of their homes.
We celebrate when there's not a shooting.
Until that evil is taken care of, we got to deal with this.
Seattle requires permits to block or place structures in public streets. Unauthorized obstructions can lead to fines or removal orders. Kate and Peter say they were built over the weekend and say they don't know whether a permit was approved.
You can't just move these makeshift barricades out of the way. And you can see here they're made of dirt, gravel, chunks of concrete, and even logs.
But doing it yourself, I don't think is right.
Some say it goes too far.
It's not a good way to protest. It doesn't solve anything.
It's not a fix for sure. It's a Band-Aid. This is Tylenol for stage 4 cancer.
Conflicts between neighbors ended in understanding and, in one case, a handshake.
I'd shake your hand and give you a hug if you're into it. But,
I'll shake your hand, sir.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Peter.
Peter Clark.
As neighbors push the city to stop the violence, their homegrown roadblocks could find themselves at the top of the city's to-do list and be removed.
Unreal. Unreal. And did you see the gunfire recorded from that doorbell cam? That's insane. This cancer has a name, by the way. It's called progressivism. Leftist policies absolutely failing in LA, Minneapolis, San Francisco, and yes, of course, Seattle. We talk about it all the time. Ponytail dude undoubtedly voted for every step, every one of these idiots. Progressive Party in cities like these seems to have certainly been managed decline, barely managed at that. People seem to be waking up to these massive failures. It's insane. Proven by the fact that LA mayoral candidate Spencer Pratt has gone so viral. This guy is doing an amazing job. Steve Hilton leading gubernatorial polls in the Golden State. It may very well just be too late for Seattle. They may have just finally jumped the shark. Would be a long, long road back to any kind of normalcy for the Emerald City, which is sad. My brother used to live in Seattle for many, many years, and he loved it. Beautiful city. This was way back, probably in the 90s, maybe, something like that. Danny says, I got a friend in Seattle. We still talk even with our political differences, but she posted about hating ICE and supporting immigration. I wonder if she'd be against this border. Wow. And again, these people are forced to do this because the cops won't do squat. They won't do anything. So, there you go. Unbelievable. All right. We got a feel-good goosebump story coming up next. It is amazing. It's a fantastic story, and I love to be able to share these with you. A Gold Star wife has come out online and asked if someone would take a photo of her husband's Arlington Cemetery grave. And the most unbelievable magic happened, because in general, much as we are led in some cities by idiots like Seattle or LA, we also have a tremendous amount of people in this country whose hearts are in exactly the right place. A grieving widow posted on social media that she would be deeply grateful if someone would take a photo of her husband's grave at Arlington National Cemetery for Memorial Day, because she wasn't able to get there. She wrote on X, "This is probably a long shot, but if anybody happens to be in D.C. this weekend and plans on visiting Arlington, I would love to see a fresh photo of my husband's grave in Section 60, Sergeant Alan W. Shaw." Well, now, she likely hoped that a reader or two would step up, honor her plea. I can't imagine she expected the kind of response that she actually got. As Susan wrote, independent journalist Nick Sorter, we know this guy, he's brilliant, he very quickly stepped up to the plate and said he would deliver. And deliver he did. He writes, "Good rainy morning from Arlington National Cemetery, specifically the final resting place of your hero, husband Staff Sergeant Alan Shaw. His grave now has some fresh roses placed in front of it, alongside with 2 American flags, and a reminder that Americans truly appreciate this." Wow. Wow. Nice job, Nick. Sorter was very far from being the only patriot to make that kind of an effort. Get a load of this. The Director of National Intelligence, our good friend Tulsi Gabbard, a veteran herself, stepping down from her post after revelations about her husband with a serious form of blood cancer. She, believe it or not, also showed up to honor Staff Sergeant Shaw's memory. Tulsi Gabbard posted on X, "It was an honor to visit your husband's grave today on your behalf and pay my respects. It was wonderful to see the beautiful flowers representing many others who did the same. Our nation owes a debt of gratitude to those who made the ultimate sacrifice." Do we have that picture? We do. Here you go. There she is, Tulsi Gabbard. Now, if I'm not mistaken, if you are a veteran, as opposed to leaving flowers or a flag, you put a coin on top of the gravestone of a fellow service member. She writes, "Thank you for your service and your sacrifice." Man, how about that? Cheryl Ann wrote back with a poignant message. She writes, "Tulsi, thank you, not just for taking the time to visit Alan today, but for understanding the weight of the sacrifice in a way that few people ever truly will. You answered the call to serve this country just like he did. You know what it means to put on the uniform, to stand willingly, to give every defense of this nation. And that makes this gesture mean even more to our family. Seeing you standing there at his grave honestly brought me to tears. thank you for honoring Alan by saying his name and reminding me that there are still people in this country who have not forgotten the cost of freedom. Wow. You are missed, Alan. We thank you for your service. And by the way, an army of freedom lovers all came throughout the day on Memorial Day to show their respects for Alan. What a fantastic, fantastic story. Wow. Good to see, good to hear. Incredible. All right, here we go again with this tick thing. I am telling you, there is a story here, and people are choosing to ignore it, and you should not. I saw all kinds of crap posted today, and it's looking a whole lot like Bill Gates has got a lot of answering to do. Bill Gates, who's trying to push not eating red meat, who's trying to push all kinds of alternative bullshit foods, and of course, likely responsible for some sort of a tick infestation. Come on, Bill. Please. No one believes you. There's this disease that the Texas Lone Star tick gives people that makes them allergic to red meat, to beef, basically. Ain't that convenient? Listen.
I can never eat red meat again. So as of 2 days ago, I was diagnosed with something called alpha-gal syndrome. So what that means is I am now allergic to red meat, dairy, and just all mammal byproducts. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention pork. No more ribs. I've already started to accept it. I can live on chicken, fish, and turkey. I've started to accept that. But the dairy, that's what gets me. No milk, no butter, no cheese. I love cheese on everything. This sucks. But it could always be worse. There's people in this world that have it worse than me. Thankfully, I can still eat some things, so. And I forgot to mention how I got it. So alpha-gal syndrome is transmitted by the Lone Star tick. So the tick that's got the little white mark in the back of it, that's the Lone Star tick. And if you spend a lot of time outdoors like I do, you got to be careful. So that's how I got it.
By the way, I love this guy's voice. It's great. Man, but you know, it's insane. You gotta protect yourselves, folks. It is absolutely insane. How is this happening now suddenly? All of a sudden, we got this big tick problem where this Lone Star tick is infecting people and making them so they cannot eat red meat or meat-related products and dairy. Something is going on. I am going to tinfoil hat this thing to death, and I'm going to keep covering it because something is happening. We all said, oh, no, just coincidence, blah, 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 bullshit. No, sorry, it's not. There is something going on. Can't tell what it is yet. But it's insane. Crazy. Danny says, I watched the beginning of the show yesterday. Mike was out fishing. I checked him head to toe and told him about it. And it says he won't survive without red meat. Fortunately, this Lone Star tick is mostly found in Texas, but not exclusively. So, please do exactly what Danny did. If you're out in the woods, if you're out wherever it might be, even on your front lawn, you never know. Check yourself, check your kids, check your dogs, cats. It's not something to muck around with. Absolutely not. And more people are getting affected by it. And it's not good. And yes, we are going to keep covering this thing. And Eventually, hopefully, we'll get an answer, because I don't like what I'm hearing so far. Marilyn, I know you're going to love this one. It's not tinfoil. The prophets have told us all about this and so much more. Some is God, some is man, but it's all happening just as was said. All right. The Trump-Iran deal is on the edge. Apparently, this thing changes every 6 hours. I can't give you an up-to-date story because it changes so often. First, the deal's on, then the deal's off, then we're going to do more bombing, then we're not going to do more bombing, then we got control of the Strait of Hormuz, then we don't have control. Jesus. It's like, what the hell? Seriously? Can we settle this once and for all? Tehran apparently now has vowed mass sacrifice. Yeah, you heard that right. That's Tehran. Mass sacrifice and total resistance. This could be a virtual cold water bucket tossed on all the optimism we might have had about a possible peace with Iran over the weekend, which seemed to be going pretty well. Iran's president, Masoud Pezeshkian, does not seem to be very optimistic. His latest foray into the wilds of "my mouth is writing checks my butt can't cash," well, it evokes a rather odd image given the current nature of the conflict. Apparently, Iran's president seems absolutely determined to go down this road. Listen, he invoked one of Iran's strongest wartime symbols May 24th, signaling Tehran's resolve to hold its ground against the U.S. and Israel across the region, a counterterrorism expert said. The Iranian leader's remarks came at a key moment in diplomacy as Trump said a deal with Tehran to end the war is largely negotiated, warned the U.S. would either sign a great and meaningful agreement or simply walk away entirely. Iran signaled broad agreement with Washington on some points. It said a final deal not imminent. Negotiations over the remaining details were still underway. Now, that's the game that Iran has been playing all along. But here's the part where it gets really weird. An ex-post marking the anniversary of the 1982 recapture of Khorramshahr from the Iraqi forces during the Iran-Iraq War. He said, "Khorramshahr today is Iran, the Persian Gulf, and the Strait of Hormuz," adding that resistance, self-sacrifice, and repelling aggression are rooted in the culture of this land. That's a quote. Analysts say that Pezeshkian was deliberately invoking one of the deepest ideological touchstones of the Iranian Republic, the battle that came to symbolize national resistance for Iran, civilian sacrifice, defiance against invasion. This is the Iran-Iraq War reference, and the timing is the point. According to Dr. Omar Mohammed, who's the director of Anti-Semitism Research Initiative Program at George Washington University, May 24th marks the anniversary of the 82 liberation of Khorramshahr, the southwestern city Saddam Hussein captured very early in the war, and Iranian forces retook it after months of a very brutal urban combat. Now, every nation invokes memories of heroic feats they've accomplished in the past. In a few weeks, right here in the U.S., we'll be remembering, paying homage to the men who brought this country into being and the bravery and the sacrifice they faced to do so. Britain has their Lord Nelson, Duke of Wellington. Germany has Arminius, Karl von Clausewitz. We've got our heroes ranging from George Washington to George Patton, Audie Murphy, pretty close to the top of that heap. But Iran, when it fought Iraq in the 1980s, was engaged in a near-peer conflict. And now Iran is in a United States is kicking their teeth in conflict. Here's a post from the president, which is in Arabic, so it's translated. Karamshir today is Iran, the Persian Gulf, Straits of Hormuz. Our nation today, just like the people of the undefeated yet brave Karamshir, stood for days against the invading army to showcase the power of the Iranian people to the world, and it remains steadfast. Resistance, self-sacrifice, and repelling aggression is the root of the culture in this land. Let us know how that works out for you, huh? Trump has cautioned everybody not to rush to judgment. That's actually pretty good advice for the moment. Things change, like I said, every 6 hours there's a new update. A lot of us, most of us, don't know the ins and outs of all this negotiation. We don't know what's being discussed right now. I know Trump's primary sticking point, no nuclear capability for Iran, and that's about all we know. There's a lot of other fingers in this pie. But here we are again with Iran talking tough. So, we'll see where that goes. Oh, I got a good one. The prosecutor whose office helped Jack Smith accuse President Trump of stealing government records has been indicted. You know for what? Stealing government records. This is just too good. A federal prosecutor whose office helped Jack Smith pursue charges against Trump over allegedly mishandling classified documents, has now been indicted for allegedly stealing confidential government records himself. Disguised them as dessert recipes to hide the evidence. Carmen Mercedes Lineberger, what a name. Well, indicted May 19th on multiple charges, including 2 counts of theft of government money or property after she allegedly secretly transmitted confidential DOJ records to her personal email account. Disguised the file names, a press release according to the Department of Justice says. She got a copy of Smith's Volume 2 report, which alleged the president and 2 co-defendants mishandled classified documents. The report, the subject of a legal battle after the case was dismissed. U.S. District Court Judge Eileen Cannon issued an order prohibiting the DOJ and any of its employees from sharing or releasing the report, since Cannon ruled it was not customary for a prosecutor to release findings publicly in a case that's been dismissed. Now prosecutors allege that nearly 11 months later, this Lineberger chick allegedly downloaded a copy of the report on her government laptop. Then, get this, she changes the name of the file to buntcakerecipe.pdf and emails that to her personal account. Separately, she then allegedly renamed a file containing an internal DOJ memorandum that was specifically labeled for official use only, internal DOJ use only. She relabels that file chocolatecake-recipe.pdf and sends it off to her personal email. She has entered a plea of not guilty. Where do we get these people, seriously? All right. Things not going very well for a Democratic senator when he shows up at a detention center during an anti-ICE action. Oh, we gotta love this one. Now, most Americans spending time with their families Memorial Day, remembering, honoring those who gave their lives for this country. But some were busy doing other things. For example, there were activists at the ICE detention center in Newark, New Jersey, over the weekend. Got nothing better to do. No hot dogs and burger barbecues. Got to be at the detention center protesting. And some Democrat politicians made an appearance. Andy Kim from Jersey was trying to get in the facility on Sunday. Kim was back Monday, and Governor Mikey Sherrill also showed up. A Department of Homeland Security spokesperson said Kim personally called Secretary Markwayne Mullin, and he was allowed into the facility to conduct his congressional oversight responsibilities. The spokesperson criticized Sherrill over the appearance at the detention center. Governor Sherrill's visit to Delaney Hall is nothing more than a political stunt on Memorial Day, when visitation is currently suspended because of the riots outside of the facility. Yesterday, approximately 125 agitators surrounded Delaney Hall detention facility, many carrying anti-ICE signs and Antifa flags. Of course, Antifa is just an idea. Yeah. They formed a human chain around entrances and set up barricades blocking all the entrance and exits. And they were right back at it again on Memorial Day Monday. Look at this. Some moron knucklehead actually digging up rocks to try and create a barricade. Of course, with his face fully hidden. Because that's what they do.
Y'all wild.
Look at this. Digging up these blocks. Unbelievable. What an absolute disgrace. Out freaking rageous. At the end of the day, they put together one hell of a blockade. Take a look at this thing. Cement blocks, rocks, pallets. What is that, a giant cooler? Pylons. Look at this crap. What the hell is wrong with these people? Not to mention the fact that what if the fire department or an emergency vehicle had to get in there? Not going to happen. And of course, they were chanting, "Quit your job," and "Why are you hiding your face?" Although, as you just saw, some of them were hiding their faces. But that sort of hypocrisy just seems to escape them entirely. Kim was telling the activists to let the agents through the blockade, saying he'd make sure there were no detainees in the vehicle. Police reported wound up deploying pepper spray and carted away some of the agitators. Good. Kim himself wound up getting hit with pepper spray. Sorry, not sorry. Absolute idiot morons. They're not going to stop. They're not going to stop, even if somebody gets seriously hurt, sadly enough. I don't know. It's beyond me. Blackout Coffee, one of our great sponsors here on the show. You got to check out Blackout Coffee, not only because they make the best coffee on the planet, full-flavored, very strong, and never, ever bitter. Blackout Coffee is an American company. They grow their own beans. They work with local co-ops and American farmers. They get the best premium beans. They only roast your beans after you place your order. And yes, in addition to beans, if you can't grind your own, they have ground in many of their favorite, most popular roasts. They've got all kinds of pods. They do instant. They do cold brew. And they do the best flavored coffee ever. Oh, yeah. Nice. Blackout Coffee. And you know, that's exactly right. A lot of these companies that sell flavored coffees, they just spray it on. That's not a flavored coffee. The way that Blackout Coffee does it, you get that rich flavored taste all throughout. It is remarkable. Look, I was not a fan of flavored coffees. I hated them until I tried these at Blackout, and now I'm a big fan. Mostly I drink their espresso version, but on the occasion, want something different, grab some of the cherry versions or whatever these great things. Look, go over to the website, use it. The link is in our description down below. Just pull down that menu, say more, and you'll find the link there. Head over there, try a single bag. That's all I ask. Just try one bag. They've always got specials going on there, so you're going to save yourself some money. If you are a first-time customer, use the code J20, J-A-Y-20. That'll get you 20% off your first order. Blackout Coffee, use the link in our show notes. And thank you, John Santos and the gang, for helping to support this show. And thank you for your patronage over there at Blackout. We appreciate it. All right. Interesting story. Are more people going to church because fewer people are going to college? Interesting. Higher education's collapsing credibility might be doing more to slow down the decline of American religion than any revival or awakening or democratic shift. One of the most unexpected cultural developments in the U.S. has been the recent stabilization of religious affiliation. From 1972 until 2020, huge, long time, the percentage of American adults identifying as Christian dropped steadily from some 90% down to 63%. That is a huge drop. And those saying they didn't belong to any particular faith tradition went from 5% to 29%. Holy crap. In February, though, of 2025, it suddenly became clear that this decades-long decline had actually flattened out for some time. Weird. And that's when Pew Research, published its most recent religious landscape study, which is the largest of the foundation's ongoing surveys. An enormous survey based on answers from more than 35,000 respondents. Pew discovered that over the previous 5 years, from 2019 until 2024, the Christians' share of the U.S. population has been relatively stable, hovering between 60 and 64% for both Catholics and Protestants, while the percentage of unaffiliated had also leveled off. Mainly Protestants continued their decline, but other Protestant denominations balanced it out. With the Public Religion Research Institute and the U.S. Religious Census recently confirming the Pew findings, a number of religious podcasters, social media influencers, other reliable news outlets have taken to kind of exaggerating the data a bit, declared a modern great awakening among the young men, but even a mere leveling of religious affiliation is a dramatic enough development for the more serious people who are observing this to try and explain it. Now, the reason originally given by Pew's own analysts say the decreasing strength in religious beliefs from one generation to the next had finally begun to narrow. In other words, while each generation since World War II has been less interested in communal worship than the one before it, the most recent gaps have shrunk to the point where each new cohort no longer impacts the overall percentage in a significant way. Other researchers at Cornell, their associate professor of sociology, offered a rather odd alternative explanation. He said they believe that over the last half century, Americans have increasingly learned how to shape their spiritual lives according to their personal values and not institutional creeds, with the result that nearly everyone today who might have a problem with the requirements of organized religion has stopped attending worship services, caused the historical decline to naturally level off. Weird. Without taking away the possibility that any of those explanations could account for some Christian worship recent strength, what is surprising is that no interpreter has yet considered the impact of the declining prestige of what until recently has been its most influential critic, higher education. More than 61% of Americans over 25 have ever attended college. Even fewer, 38%, have ever received an associate's degree or higher. The American media have very long conditioned audiences to regard professors as the most reliable source of information on any important subject. So much so that a lot of people have traditionally relied on an author's academic credentials to decide whether or not to buy someone's nonfiction book. But today, colleges, universities, which have historically promoted unflattering portrayals of worship, depicting it as everything from repressed sexuality and racial prejudice to cult fanaticism, capitalist exploitation, all the buzzwords. They themselves are experiencing a very serious image problem. Campus development, such as banning speakers on ideological grounds, supporting transgender men and women's sports, white supremacy, they've all cleared and lowered the average citizen's expectation of the academic world. We just are losing our faith in it, to make a pun. So calls to defund the police, replace gender-based identifiers with self-selected pronouns, z. Ridiculous. Pay reparations for slavery from so long ago. Give illegal immigrants the right to vote. All this crap going on, and people are losing more and more faith, again, pun, in the college and university systems. If more and more people have come to mistrust the educational institutions, which has turned against their basic fundamental beliefs, is it really a coincidence that they would simultaneously return to religion, which has continued to uphold them? Makes sense, right? The solid rock in what I believe is coming from my faith, not from colleges and universities. So the decline in college enrollment is dropping, and more people are going to church, and that's a good thing. That's a very, very good thing. The end of the internet's golden age. Yep, it's done. Bye-bye. Where is it? Come on. Hang on a second. What? I just did. It's not an invalid email. Give me your crap. Google, if you haven't noticed, I haven't because I don't use Google. Anyway, they overhauled their search bar this week, and it washes away one of the last bits of the internet's halcyon era. Search tools, which used to feel rather empowering, social media, swiping were novel, popular disillusionment had yet to set in. The AI era and the TikTokification of social media have produced a rather odd digital world that's responsive to the market demands of today and rather unrecognizable from what used to exist just a decade ago. In heralding the biggest upgrade to our search box in over 25 years, Google acknowledged that search was a model of the past, and its core product needed to be more in line with the AI age. Here we go. You see why I don't use Google? The blue links that used to color Google's user experience for decades have been demoted to a secondary offering. Zero-click answers get top billing. In fact, most of the search engines I do use, what you get when you do a search, the first thing that comes up is some AI analysis of what you were searching for. I didn't ask for an AI analysis. I asked for websites that are covering the thing I want to know about. But they're forcing you to take it. Publishers, search engine optimization firms, affiliate marketers, review sites built around Google traffic are now fighting for visibility in a search experience that has fewer clicks. You are not going to get to the top of the Google search engine like used to be the goal Because there is no top of the search engine. It's some AI bullshit. Americans' trust in big tech has absolutely plunged over the last 10 or 15 years, and drastic shifts have gone from the status quo alongside technological advancements. The share of Americans with a great deal or quite a lot of confidence in big tech companies, 24% in 2025, down from 32% in 2020, according to a Gallup poll. Between 2015 and 2019, the percent of Americans who said tech companies have a positive effect on the country went from 71% to 50%, according to a Pew poll. These are major polls that I trust. And if you go back even further, tech companies topped a 2010 Pew poll as the most favorable institutions on par with small business. That was just 2010. Look how far things have changed. Popularity of YouTube, TikTok pushed their platforms like Facebook, which is absolute crap. I will be disappearing from Facebook very shortly. Instagram, X, all serve content based on what it thinks users want, rather than what accounts they have been proactively following. It thinks it knows better than what we want and what we ask for. Even dating apps, believe it or not, are wearing very thin. Dating apps, particularly for Gen Z. Bumble CEO Whitney Wolf told the Axios show the company is planning to remove the swipe as part of an overhaul of the app. Now, I don't know which way it is because I don't use these apps, but if you see somebody's profile come up, you can either swipe left if you're not interested, I believe, or swipe right if you're interested. That's going away. They're taking it out of the app. Companies built the early internet are the ones absolutely speeding off to disrupt it in order to avoid being the disruptees of the AI age. Google, Meta, infusing AI into existing products, upending our experience with the products, generating hundreds of billions of dollars before establishing what the next business model even looks like. Polls suggest that we Americans are very skeptical of big tech. Big tech don't give a crap. They are aggressively pushing these AI products on us in every way, shape, and form they can, whether you want it or not. You got to deal with it. Figure out a way, folks, because you've just got to. The golden age of the internet, like I said in the beginning, bye-bye. Gone. Done. I got one more for you, but you just got to give me a minute because I got to hook this thing up. Here we go. This is so cool. This is drone footage. It's amazing. It's just a minute long. You got to watch this. It captures the very moment from a drone. I don't know how they got this close, except maybe with a zoom, without burning the drone up. A volcanic eruption from above. This is absolutely incredible. Watch this. amazing. Look at that. Directly above a volcano as it's erupting. Something you likely have never seen before and will likely never see again. Look at that. Absolutely amazing. If you are listening to the podcast, please, I don't even care if you watch the whole show, just go to the end and check this footage out because it's incredible. Absolutely amazing footage. Wow, nice job. Okay, we're done, folks. Thank you so much. It's been a Tuesday, hasn't it? We will be back tomorrow for the Wednesday edition. And be sure and pop by one of our sponsors. You can make a direct donation to the show if you like with our PayPal link, which is down there in our description. Also, of course, Blackout Coffee, Patriot Mobile. You'll find all those great sponsors down there. Go buy something. Help out the show. And I will see you all again tomorrow.